go.
There you
How
go.
about now? That was me.
Oh,
That was me. I was muted.
user error.
I did it to myself.
Oh, you're
Profe-
keeping the
hey,
record.
until I start getting paid for this shit, it's not a professional thing. I am not a professional. This is all fine.
I'm saying we don't get paid for nothing. No,
So,
we do.
anyway, kids, as you know, I'm Johnny Fox. This is the Sniktcast, and this week, well, we're speaking to Chris from the Eisley Misfits. And you want to go into more detail what that is for the kids at home?
Yeah, Mossad the Misfits is a huge Star Wars group. We attend lots of Comic Cons and our house family festivals and tattoo conventions, and we travel up and down the country and raise a lot of money for charities,
Oh,
basically.
this is all cosplayed up and
Yeah,
what have
all
you.
fully cosplayed up stormtroopers, Darth Vader. I'm Chewbacca. So yeah, it's all costume, but Mandalorians. A lot of the Comic Cons we take props, big 8 foot tall, be 10 foot wide backdrops. We've got
Nice.
life size Emperor's throne. We've got the Book of Boba Fett throne. We have droids, all kinds of different droids that I take, all sorts of different stuff that go to the events.
Wow.
So yeah, we take all these and we don't charge people. We just say it's free to have photographs and opportunities with anything you want. If they've got a few quid in a pocket or a couple of pence or anything, just chuck it to our charity, which is Two-ish, which
Which is
is for people. Yeah, it's for people who have children at a young age. And the money goes to counselling for the parents, for emergency services,
oh,
care packages, memory boxes, and to be able to make it easy for the parents to stay really close to the hospital when they've got a child in hospital that might be critically ill, basically due to pass away. So it's all really
oh,
worthwhile. You know what I mean?
that's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing. So how long have you been doing this? How long has Mos Eisley Misfits been a thing? I imagine you've been
Of
doing this
course,
for
yeah,
longer.
yeah. I've been, yeah. I started out doing stuff like when I was younger, stuff like Captain America, all that. So I get a bit old now, so I tend to wear trooper helmets or let's say Chewbacca because I'm 7'5" as Chewie. Um, the group's been going a few years now, but I've been costuming for a long time, helping with charities for 15, 20 years. You know, that sort of idea. You know, we'll step in at suicide awareness days. We'll step in at a family fun day for a little boy who might need a better wheelchair or adaptations for the home. Anything we can. I mean, we're not sponsored. We don't get help in anything. It all comes out of his own pockets.
Yeah.
It's just, we do it for the love of Star Wars or just basically for the love of helping people in general. Nice big group of fruit bats that all dress up in costumes that are quite happy to give the time and the money, you know, the petrol and go to events and,
Yeah.
you know, put a smile on kids'
So,
faces and family.
so how many members are you currently rocking?
About 130.
Wow.
Yeah, that's costume members, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we have a lot of followers as public page is we've got 2 pages. We've got Mos Eisley Misfits, which leads you to a lot of the pages which will announce what events we're at next, which is the Mos Eisley Misfits 2021. And basically, just before every event, we'll put up and say, this is the event we're going to be at to any followers, or anybody wants to come along, anybody that supports Two-ish, come and see us. Have free photograph opportunities with the backdrops, you know, and stuff like that. It's great. All the guys in the group, they're all like a massive extended family. They really are. It's a very family orientated group. Everybody just has each other's back, you know, helping get each other to different events and
Yeah.
helping get each other in a costume and
Just
stuff like
gonna
that.
say that.
Yeah, my wife does the armour from the Mandalorian, and she'll do an Imperial officer, and generally she'll get sort of half ready, and then she has to help me get in at stilts, and then get the furry trousers on and the furry top and the gloves and the head, and you know, walk out with all my
Yeah.
sound effects. You know what I mean? So it's really cool, and every single person in the group, I absolutely love them to bits because they're so kind, so caring. really relaxed. Just generally orientated as family people, so that they know what it's like to do stuff for families at events. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? You know.
Yeah. So is it a lot of do you like homemade, handmade costumes, or do you
Yeah,
kind
there's some fan-made stuff. I mean, there's no
of,
snobbery in the group. We have some UK Garrison 501st members in the group.
yes, I know
Um,
too.
and we have some guys that have put together costumes that are just brilliant. That we've got a Lego head Darth Maul, you know, we've got all sorts of wide variety of costumers, you know, that stuff like that walks in and it gets a lot of attention. And when you collect it for charity, that's what you want. You want
Yeah.
people to notice the characters. There's several Wookiees in the group. You know, there's a pure white Wookiee which is called Ice. There's me as Chewbacca. We've got Wookiee warriors. We've got all sorts. We really have the Emperor, Darth Vader, Stormtroopers, Biker Scouts, Clone Troopers. You know, there's a lot of females in the group as well. They tend to keep the males in tow. They make us behave ourselves
Yeah.
because those boys just never grow up, do we? So.
Do you have a good do you have a good age range among the group as well? I would imagine.
No, because we have the what we class as the mini misfits,
All right.
and so as not to exclude anybody that might want to join the group, but they feel that they can't because they've got children. If their kiddie can put a costume on, and it's a proper costume, I don't mean something like from Asda or you know, it's going to be a proper costume at least. They join and they just become one of the mini misfits, and they come with their mum or the mum and dad or the dad, whichever, you know, and they'll troop throughout the day, and they'll have breaks whenever they need them. I always make sure there's water and snacks and changing areas, and the guys in the group can have a break whenever they need it, and they take an hour for the dinner. So it's if everyone's relaxed and enjoying it, that'll reflect on the public. Then, do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't like to regiment people. I like, you know, at the end of the day, a lot of these guys are not just costumers in my group; they're all friends and they're like family as well. So I like to look out for them. You know what I mean? And make sure everybody's
Yeah.
pretty looked
No,
after.
brilliant. So so if anybody's watching, listening, if they would like you to attend something uh, that
Yeah,
they're doing on
just
their
get
behalf,
into it.
so should they just contact the Facebook groups?
Yeah, contact the Facebook group. And 9 times out of 10, it'll be me that answers it anyway. Because I like to make sure on times, areas, postcodes, um, are they going to supply an half decent changing room? Because as you can imagine, some of the guys have spent thousands of pounds on the
Yeah.
costumes. You know, it's
Yeah.
they want somewhere secure to leave the personal belongings. So I have to sort out all the little tiny details just to make sure people feel they're going to turn up and they're not going to get their wallet nicked. Or, you know, silly little things. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so I mean, generally 99.9% of the time, it's all fine and it runs smooth.
So had
So
we had May the 4th. Obviously, only a few weeks ago. That must be a big day, especially if it falls on a weekend. I imagine that must be a big
yeah,
day for you.
yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, the last one we did it at StarCon in Hull. They had nearly a full-size X-wing fighter there. One of the props we've got is like an 8-9 foot Scout Walker. We've taken the Emperor's Throne and we've taken all sorts of stuff. And it was a really nice event, really nice event. I set up some droids in the foyer for them, which is K2SO, and battle droids and stuff like that from like Rogue One and the original, you know, the prequels and stuff like that. So, yeah, no, we had a great time. Absolutely. We're going to do it again. They've already pre-booked us for next year. I've got a few people contacting me for next year again, you know what I mean? So
That's good.
it's it, we don't just stand there, you see. We'll stand with props, but we have a charity table, but we have a Mando station as well, where the kiddies can come across, and one of the guys, whoever's attending the table, will say, um, if they get your 5 photographs of their kid or themselves with 5 different Star Wars characters and come back and prove it, they win an I'm an official bounty hunter certificate. So we're always
Nice.
doing stuff for
Yeah,
kids.
that's cool.
It just makes it a little bit more interactive rather than just stood there.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. I've seen that. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen that. I've attended events and I've seen, and yeah, they're just stood there.
Yeah, you get some that just stand out in a row, and they put the bucket in front of them. No, no, no. I'll say to my guys, just go off, be that character, enjoy it. You spent all that money on wanting to become an Imperial Sand Trooper or Kylo Ren or Darth Vader. Get into character, go and enjoy it and be that character. Walk around, high five all kids.
Yeah.
I'm Chewbacca, so I go around high fiving, nicking kids' baseball caps because I'm so tall. You can't reach, you know what
So
I mean? And
you probably knew this was coming, and you probably know you've only got yourself to blame. If you're Chewbacca,
yeah,
can you do the roar?
no, I have all electronic sound effects. I have tried so desperately, and I've sort of
Yeah.
desperately tried to do it. Yeah, I'm just rubbish at it. So I have an expensive electronic setup that's attached to my hands inside my glove.
Oh yeah.
So when I open and close my mouth on the Chewbacca mask, it makes the full proper movie sounds of
Oh
Chewbacca,
wow.
which makes it a lot
Fancy.
more authentic. Yeah. Uh, and to be honest, I'd rather do that because when you're walking around as Chewie quite a lot, you do get a lot of guys walking past you going,
Yeah.
it's Chewbacca, but then when I actually do the noise back and it's the authentic, really loud Chewbacca noise or the growl,
Yeah.
like, oh, blooming heck, it makes noise as well.
uh,
But yeah, no, it's such a lovely environment to be in. It is literally like a second family. Um, and like I said before, I mean, I don't mean to harp on about it, but every single person in the group are just so warm and lovely and caring. Um, my nickname's Daddy Eisley. I was in Moss Eisley, but Daddy Eisley because I'm in my 50s now, so I'm older than quite a few of them. There's only a couple that are a bit older than me. But if there's any issues or problems with costumes or anything, life in general, I'm always going to be there for people,
yeah.
always, because that's my nature. Do you know what I mean? So, and I hope that that just gets passed on through them to somebody else. Then,
Yeah. So I, I wouldn't want to make assumptions, but it's fair usually. But is it fair to assume you are in fact a Star Wars fan? This is not just oh, I think this could
uh,
work. You know.
yeah,
Um,
just a little bit. You can see a little bit of my living room. I'll do a little spin. That's my living
there.
room. Um, that's a working R2D2 that we take to events. And then you come over to this corner. So yeah, I'm a little bit of a Star Wars fan,
Yeah.
just a little bit. But I mean, we have um, such as Spencer Wilding, who plays Darth Vader in Rogue One. He's one of our
Okay.
ambassadors. Brian Muir, who designed Darth Vader, he's an ambassador for us. You got Jimmy V, who plays R2D2. He's ambassador for us, and so is Mike Quinn, Iron Num. They're all ambassadors for it because it was just a lot of down to earth normal people that put costumes on, dress up like mad fools, and go out and desperately try to help raise as much funds as we can for really deserving causes. Do you know what I mean? And it's yeah, my favourite's the kids. And you got a kid attached to your leg. You try to walk around at 7'5", you've got this little thing
Yeah.
attached to your leg, and or they're running over just randomly to give you a cuddle. You usually find that, and a lot of the old ladies as well give you cuddles. Um, I'm trying to have a feel of Chewbacca's bottom, you know. But it all comes with territory, mate. We've
Yeah.
got the Our House Family Festival in Brighouse this weekend, um, and this is for a guy called Dale Castell. He's a very, very famous, well-known DJ. But we did a little video with him not so long since as well. Um, he's just asking about the charity that we help with and stuff like that because he's desperately trying to make sure that when we go and we're collecting for charity that we can just get that little bit more
Yeah.
every time. Do you know what I mean? Because for every £40, it's an hour's counselling for a parent, or it's a care package, or a memory box, or you know what I mean. So the more we raise, the more people we can help. It's I know what it's like to lose a child, so this is why this is our chosen charity for a while. So yeah, it's 100%. It's 100%.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
this is this is just brilliant. This is brilliant. Everything you're saying is just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you
put my glasses on
for
because
what
I can't see.
what it's worth from me. Thank you for doing what you do. All of you,
Oh,
all
man.
150 of you. It's a beautiful thing, and I know what I do know from personal experience is getting that photograph with some of this type of thing at the high quality that I've seen all your socials, the high quality costumes that these guys are bringing,
Yeah, yeah,
and some of the props too. Some of this shit, a lot of places, it's £20 or more a chuck to get this done, and I'm waiting in a queue for 3 hours to get there
yeah,
to get that done. And these guys are just hanging out, having fun, moving around,
yeah.
making an effort, and letting you take that photo. So that little
We, we, we
donation,
we do
man,
like
it's how could you not? How could you
yeah,
not throw something
well, yeah.
in
I
that
mean,
bucket for
we
this?
do like shopping centres as well, and I'll say to guys roaming in and out of the shops. I'll walk into a clothing shop as Chewy, and I'll pick a dress up and just act
Yeah,
daft. You know, I'll walk in and I'll grab on the staff in a jewellery shop because they're not allowed outside the shop, but you can see them looking out a window going,
yeah,
you know, wow, you know, so I'll purposely aim for that shop and I'll shoot straight in and I'll go get photographs with the staff. And I know a lot of my other guys do the same thing. So I'm saying that if this, especially if you've got someone in a wheelchair that can't get to you, we'll
yeah.
go to them. If you get someone in the shop that can't come out of the shop, we'll go into them. You know, we'll go out of our way. We don't want money for that. If someone's got money on them, they don't mind donating, donate. If you haven't got any money on you, still come over for a cuddle from Chewbacca, get your high fives and your photographs with any Star Wars character you want. It's not all about the money, it's all about the joy that you bring to kids and the families and the memories that they can take home, you know. So,
Oh, for
and
sure.
again, if people are generous and they help us out, then that's great. It's a massive bonus for us, you know.
So, how are you finding these type of events now? I'm gonna say it. Post pandemic. Oh.
Um,
Are we
I,
are we getting back
I,
to a decent kind of rate of attendance? Are people not
some are,
not
some
too
are. I
scared to
think,
come to these things now?
yeah, I think it's picking up a lot now. It's starting to pick up a lot now.
Good.
We do a lot of the Unleashed events, but again, we do Popcorn Comic Con. We do several different events for different people. We've got the Lincoln Tattoo Convention coming up soon as well. Um, Also, such as the festivals that we'll turn up at, and they've got all like the old pop stars on. We were there last year with Kim Wilde and you know and stuff like that. You know, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, no, it's picking up. It's getting busier. I mean, I've noticed that a lot, but it's very competitive. Is the Comic Con scene? There's a lot of different organisers to different Comic Cons, and it must be difficult for some of the organisers to try and get a full event, you know, with public when there's somebody else's event down the road the week later. You know,
Oh,
there you go. You're back.
hey,
You frozen like.
yeah, I lost you. It was the other way around. It was you for me. So,
Oh yeah,
oh, there we
no,
go.
no,
Oh,
there you go.
it seemed to be back.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's it. It's quite competitive. Is the Comic
Yeah,
Con market, you know what I mean? But I like to try and get a bit of something different for guys all the time. We do Comic Cons, music events, like I say, tattoo conventions, a bit of all sorts. So
yeah,
it never gets boring then. You're not doing the same thing over and over and over again. You know what I mean? I mean, it's
yeah.
not boring anyway because you're dressed up having fun, but it's just nice for the guys to have a
Yeah,
different background change now
I
and again.
imagine. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, once you've been to one Comic Con, then you go to another Comic Con and another because I'm quite friendly and good friends with a lot of the stall holders as well now because I've been doing it such a long time. So you're pretty much going around, you know, when you're going in and you're setting up before it's time to get ready into costume before public. Um, I'm sort of walking around giving cuddles to stall holders, and you know they're offering free prints or a free bit of art or something that we can auction or raffle, you
yeah.
know, for
That's
charity.
cool. Yeah.
That's nice. That, do you know what I mean? So anything, any help towards the group from anybody is always welcome. be it props, gifts, support, just being there at events to come and say hi and and donate a couple of quid. It's all goes towards keeping the group going.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
Right. So, um, if I may, we'll just get a little bit more sort of personal, a little bit more.
yeah,
I'll
no
talk to
worries.
Chris. We've done the big promo. It's all connected. But so, do you remember what was your first? What was your first Star Wars, experience?
I'm of the age where I actually went to watch The New Hope when they actually released it in the cinemas.
Oh, I'm not quite that old.
Yeah,
I'm not.
I was born in '71,
Yeah.
so my older sister took me to go watch it, the original. And then, of course, when they started bringing out The Empire Strikes Back and Return of Jedi, and then the local cinemas were putting all three films on, so you were sat there for like bloody 7 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would just watch it repeatedly, and sort of collected toys like that from being a child.
Because was one of
Um,
those, were you just mind blown that first viewing was just
yeah,
like this is
yeah,
this is my
the
thing.
ship coming over, to start with,
Yeah.
it just captivated me. I mean, I had a toy stormtrooper, original 1977 Imperial Stormtrooper that I used to keep in my pocket as a kid because I was quite a nervous little boy. I was only tiny. I was like 3.5 pounds when I was born. Until I got to teenage, I got taller. I was like 3 foot shorter than everybody else till I got to teenage. Um, but I had this little tiny stormtrooper in my pocket, and I kept it, and it was my little safety blanket thing. I don't know why, but it just was. Um, and I went in out of kids' homes and respite, and a lot of stuff like that when I was a child. So the Star Wars side of it, the films and the movies, um, kids' homes and respite because my mum were heavily disabled. So the Star Wars movies gave me a nice release somewhere, a bit of a fantasy thing to forget about
Yeah.
everything and just disappear into being Luke Skywalker or Han Solo. I actually always, as weird as it sounds, always wanted to be Chewie. But and now I am Chewie. But
Oh,
yeah,
brilliant.
as daft as it sounds, I wanted to be the
Well,
hairy dog.
you know what? I think this is the thing. This is the thing. If you're a little bit older, like we are,
Yeah,
and I always say it was never. The Jedi's are cool and the powers and lightsabers and all of that, but being
I
being
loved
there
all
for
the
that
things.
original trilogy, I'd never. Luke Skywalker wasn't the character I wanted to be in the playground or really like play with the figures.
Yeah,
Luke wasn't just isn't that cool
he's not.
really. He's a
Yeah,
the
he's cool.
farm
He's
boy
just not
bit of a.
tough, is he?
It's
He
kind of
wasn't tough, really.
yeah.
Whingy
Like,
little character, really. He want really. I think even Mark Hamill made a comment once that he wasn't tough enough. He was supposed to be a Jedi. He was supposed to be the savior of
yeah,
everything and blah blah blah. Until we realised when they brought the prequels out, it wasn't him. It were Anakin. But
yeah.
there's a lot of
It was
confusing aspects.
yeah. It was like like you've got Han Solo. You know,
Yeah, the lovable
smuggler,
rogue.
pirate, scoundrel, gun-toting, leather waistcoat wearing, cool ship, gets the girl, has a fucking Wookiee for a best friend. Like that's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
dude you want to be if
Well, yeah,
if
because
you're
I think
going
I
for
think
another human. Anyway, that's
all,
the guy
all,
you want
all
to be.
all his character traits appealed to somebody somewhere, didn't they? He was a charmer, he was a smuggler, he was a sneaky man. You know what I mean? And the women, he was loved by Leia. Like you say, had a Wookiee as a sidekick, and he flew an amazing ship. I think as a character, I think he were top dollar, wasn't he? Really was.
Yeah.
Really was. I'd love to meet Harrison Ford one day.
Oh,
Love to.
there we go.
I bet he's probably sick to death of hearing about Star Wars now, like.
Ah, what were they expecting? If they're expecting anything different,
It's made him millionaires on it, so
yeah.
you can't really complain.
Not really. No. So like me, you'll also remember. You'll also being a huge Star Wars fan, but they remember the dark kids today, they won't know, but there was a time when there was no Star Wars. Well, no movies, no TV shows. We had plenty of books and comics, and
Yeah,
they never really
no,
stopped churning toys out. But like, we had quite a few years with no new Star
yeah,
Wars to
it was
watch.
more your Evil Knievel and your Action Man and stuff like that. But you didn't have the cartoons and the movies about them, did you? You were just sort of just bought the toys and expected to know how these characters are,
Yeah,
So I think the kids back then had an amazing imagination, and it helped them create a better imagination because they had to think up the worlds that these characters were from. You get your Action Man toys and your Evil Knievel. Oh, you saw what advert on the television for Evil Knievel, and your Action Man, it was an advert for an Action Man, So
yeah,
such as myself, he used to go off in the woods with me Action Man and make aerial slides and do all sorts of stupid stuff because my older brother was in the army, so he would always bringing me stuff like that back. Um, but yeah, I think it's difficult for kids these days to have the imagination that kids of our age had when we were young, because a lot of stuff we were left to fend for ourselves or make stuff up or build stuff, build guiders and go-karts and
yeah,
bikes and skateboards and playing army woods and all that. You don't see that with kids now. It's all computer games and, you know, I mean, my two youngest, I've got a 14 and 15-year-old. The same. My daughter's very much like me, very creative, but into making stuff, building stuff. She makes her own costume stuff. But my son's on his computer all the time. He's heavy into his
yeah.
gaming. He wouldn't know how to use a sweeping brush if you showed him. You know what I mean? It's very different these days, man. Very different.
It's different. That's it. It's different. It's not bad. It's not worse. It's not wrong.
No,
It's just
it's
different.
just
It's
different.
just different.
Yeah, exactly.
But nonetheless, it is pretty cool as Star Wars fans to now be in a world where there's kind of wall to wall, non-stop Star Wars.
Yeah, there's a few more movies coming out, isn't there? Like the Acolyte and
Yeah,
the new
it,
movie with Rain as the lead Jedi and stuff like that. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how they are when they come out. They might be good. They might not be good. I mean, everybody has different opinions. What me or yourself might
yeah.
go, wow, really enjoyed that. You might have another few people that go, nah, didn't like
Oh,
it.
I
But that
mean,
doesn't say bad or good. It's just opinion, innit? It's
oh,
one of them things.
certainly. And as long as it's a healthy, fun debate, that's great. As long as nobody's being,
Yeah,
horrible.
a bit like
It's great
Star Wars
because
and Star Trek.
my hot take on Star Wars, seems to be, I think as the kids say, a hot take, um, is that I like the prequels.
Every
I
Star Wars
do.
film.
I mean, they're not perfect, but what is?
I
Um,
I'm a massive Star Wars fan, mate, so I just love every Star Wars film. Anything to do with Star Wars, it's got lightsabers and X-wings in it, and Tie fighters, and good guys versus bad guys. I love it. I love the Western movies when I was a kid. I love the pirate films when I was a kid. So you've got a bit of that sort of thing
it is.
incorporated in all the
Yeah.
films. Again, not everybody likes every film, but well, so be it.
Yeah, I
But
mean, clearly, I think Lucas always said it's a Western in space with a
yes,
healthy dose of like Seven Samurai,
yeah,
thrown in for good measure, and that's pretty accurate, at least at its
yeah, very much. Yeah,
core.
I
At
agree.
least certainly that the original trilogy. So at its core, and still is
Yeah,
pretty much
yeah,
that.
yeah, I agree. I totally agree with you.
But so do you remember? We'll stick with a little bit of prequel talk. Do you remember? So obviously, then for the Phantom Menace,
Yeah.
you were super excited after how many years without anything? 15, something like
Oh,
that.
yeah, yeah, it must have been something like that. Yeah, I remember actually meeting Ray Parks at one of the Comic
Oh yeah,
Cons, and it was super
he
nice.
is.
I mean,
He
a lot of
is.
the guests by the end of the day were wanting to sort of wind it up a little bit, the autographs. But the guy, he just genuinely wanted to stay there till whatever time he had to do till his queue had gone.
Yeah,
The guys come out of his hotel at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning to go meet the guys queuing to a convention to go stand there and swing a lightsaber around and stuff like that. He's
yeah.
super cool. Yeah, I met him. He actually pulled me up and my mate. We were in we do a pimp trooper costume, which is like It's a white suit with stormtroopers all over it, and a diamonded stormtrooper helmet with a top hat and a cane, and quite a dapper trooper, pink trooper.
Yeah.
And then him and his sister and his sister's kids pulled us up and said, "Can we have photographs with you? My nephew, you're his favourite character here at this convention because you're just different." Even big platform boots on that say "Powered by the Dark Side" over on the bottom of them. It's just something a bit daft and a bit out there for a bit of fun, you know. And I said, "Yeah, of course." And then he said to me, "Come back and see me the next day." He said, "Come back and see me tomorrow, and I'll give you all the free merchandise you want. I'll sign whatever you want." So yeah, that was great. Absolutely great. Loved it. Like I say, I love my canon stuff, which is it's true to the movies, the costume wise.
Yeah.
But we do like to do a bit of a mashup now and again, you know, like the Pimp Trooper, and we've got a Teddy Boy Scout, and he's got a Millennium Falcon guitar. You know, we've got Pink Tutu Trooper and Darth Vader Bond. You know, James Bond, all
Right.
tuxedo with Vader. And you know, you can do 4 or 5 different characters like that. It's something that a lot of people don't ever see. So you get a few of you lined up like that with a charity bucket, and everybody's coming up and going, "Yeah, there's your money. I'm having a photograph of you." It's crazy. So yeah, no, it's lovely. You know, it's and like I said, I've come very close to a lot of the guys in the group. You know, I cherish them very much. So.
Yeah.
Phantom Menace, I was excited to see it, especially with the theme music for his epic battle. And when he stood there and not just lit up one lightsaber, it was 2 double-ended lightsabers. You're like, oh my god!
Yeah.
And then you saw when he killed Qui-Gon Jinn, and you saw Obi-Wan Kenobi's face change. You knew there were going to be a proper battle then. You knew it. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's good stuff. It's good stuff. I mean, like I said, I'm much the same. I am bound by the laws of me to watch everything.
Yeah.
I mean, like anybody in any fandom, anything I like some more than others.
Yeah.
That's just going to happen. But yeah, if they keep, whenever someone's making it, I'll be there watching it. Now some people
originals because of the charm of the puppets. They're all hand puppets and set designs and the work that had gone into it. It had that charm. Yoda had that charm, not the same CGI. It's good, but it's just not got the same charm to it.
Yeah.
And obviously, been through, I've met quite a few film stars over the years. We've met them at Comic Cons, or I've specifically gone to meet them. Obviously, my favourite one is when I met Junus, who plays Chewbacca. So we've got my photograph. We have a backdrop that we take to events. It's Darth Vader with stormtroopers, and it's signed by Brian Muir, Mike Quinn, Junus Samo, who plays Chewbacca. It's signed by a lot of different famous Star Wars characters, X-Wing fighter pilots, Ewoks, R2-D2. You know, it's signed by a lot of them, and it's a nice legacy for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and every time I find out there's a Star Wars a character that I haven't met yet at an event, I'll go and say, "Look, please, will you sign?" And yeah, no, of course we will. Your charity group, we'll get up and we'll sign it for you, mate. Not a problem. It's not like I'm after a free autograph where they think I'm going to buy it and get it for note and sell it. You know what I mean? It's part of the set. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. So did you know? Probably do. Today, this very day, as we're doing this day was May the 23rd, was the premiere for Return of the Jedi.
Right.
Obviously, released on the 25th, as Star Wars should be. It's not May the 4th. It's a fun thing that we've always said as fans, and now Disney made it an hashtag, and it's all kind of officially. But May the 25th has always been Star Wars Day to me. But yeah, today was the premiere of Return of the Jedi. So
great film. I preferred Empire, but Jedi. Yeah, I like Empire.
Yeah.
The original New Hope will always be a great. I mean, it's all fantasy. It's all made up. But when you're a Star Wars fan, and I was at Star Wars Celebration, costuming up, walking around for a few days at Star Wars Celebration, and the feeling when you go to a Star Wars Celebration is out of this world. You see life-size tanks from Rogue One, and they put up all the different costumes on the podiums, and then they've got the stages set up, and they're doing the interviews with the big stars, you know, Ahsoka and all them. It's an amazing feeling, mate. Trust me, it really is. And I actually went down with some of the guys from Mos Eisley Misfits as well. And went down with Sid and Caroline and you know, just some guys at group and Joe. And we stopped at the same hotel. We had a fantastic time. Absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. But yeah, Return of the Jedi, excellent film. Perfect.
But I know these things have been kind of remastered and tinkered with and messed around in several versions. I mean, between the couple of VHSs, the Laserdisc, the few DVDs, the Blu-rays that I own, I've got maybe 7 slightly different re-edited versions of these films.
Yeah. I've got the original
I can't
video.
remember which one would be like the current thing, but I know in a few of them, that green lightsaber, when Luke put on the sail barge, well, that's huge. It seems completely ridiculous how big that thing is. Like, it doesn't quite track in some of the fight scenes, to be honest, but it's still super cool. But it's
again,
absolutely
a lot of the colours of the lightsabers were chosen because of the backgrounds, because they wouldn't have shown up right well. And it's like, you know, you got Mace Windu, you know, he actually chose his own colour of his lightsaber with George Lucas. Yeah. I mean, I've seen the interview of him choosing it, saying, I want a purple one, and George Lucas like, well, how does that work, purple? Anyway, he turned out later and go, yeah, you've got a purple one. The reason he wanted that is because he wanted to, in the fight scenes in the arena, he wanted to be able to pick himself out immediately, being the only one with a purple lightsaber, to point himself out to friends and family.
I mean, that's it. I mean, you know, however, I know I have some friends have somewhat washed their hands of it. They're not as keen on it. They'll always watch, you know, the older ones, but they're not so hot on some of the newer stuff. But I'm like, given the chance, I don't care if the Disney versions, whatever, given the chance, if I could be in a Star Wars movie or TV show, if I'm a character in the background, you know, if I could get to make a stupid noise and then they put that on some little creature or something,
just to be able to say that you were in Star Wars.
I would be doing it, and I would be showing everybody, that's me in Star Wars, that is.
Won't we all?
I would be doing that. I would do it for free.
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah, won't we all? Yeah, definitely I would. I'd like to be a creature character. I know I'm a creature anyway as a normal human being, but I'd like to be a creature character. I think, you know, like that, such as Cad Bane and Chewbacca, Ewoks, you know, I mean, I'm too tall to be an Ewok, obviously, but a lot of these characters get remembered for a lot of years, and they get cherished, don't they? You know, it doesn't matter whether people see what they look like, either they don't know what they look like. You meet somebody at a convention and go, well, that were guy that played Cad Bane, or that was guy that played the third Ewok on the left. You know, they don't care, they'll get the autograph because it was an Ewok. Do you know what I mean? So,
I mean, yeah, people love them to the point that people forget that Ewoks, you know, eat people.
Yeah, they do, the cannibals.
You know, like, it's not subtle, it's not a metaphor, it's not hinted at, it's right there. Just rewatch it and pay attention. You know, it was
going to be Wookiees, wasn't it, originally?
Yeah, Luke Skywalker and his great destiny to go on and whatever, you know, to save the universe and destroy the Death Star and cause the downfall of the Empire, could have ended very differently, you know.
Yeah.
Spit roasted and eaten alive by teddy bears. Could have been.
Definitely.
The end of that movie, thankfully, wasn't.
I mean, they used Ewoks in the end because I think it was going to be Wookiees, wasn't it? I mean, that's why when he brought the prequels out, that he had the CGI, he could do a Wookiee army, and it was going to be Wookiees originally on the Endor sort of scene instead of Ewoks. But I think one, they couldn't find a lot of actors that bloody big, and two, the cost of the fur to make the costumes were going to be astronomical. so they just sort of shrunk it down a lot. And I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, it was supposed to be Wookiees originally.
Ah.
They changed it to Ewoks because it was a lot cheaper. 'Cause don't forget he was tight with his budget on a lot of stuff, wasn't he? So
Yeah, I mean, people forget these are that original trilogy. They're indie movies. They're not big budget Hollywood movies made by. You have the well of the 20th Century Fox fanfare logo, but that's the distributor, the publisher. This is
yeah, yeah,
indie film. You know, like those little like black and white arty French films that you don't like. That's what Star Wars was.
yeah,
It
yeah.
wasn't a huge
Well,
thing.
a lot of the guys, the cast and the actors, or the guys that were stormtroopers, or all the characters in the films, they'd walk on set, and some of them would be in awe, and some of them would be like, "Well, this ain't gonna work.
Yeah,
What's this? This is a bit rubbish," you know. And not one. I don't think any of them, apart from George Lucas, realised it were going to be as massive as it ended up being, because it were all done on low budget. You know, they were
yeah,
getting members of staff, tea ladies, a guy that might push a trolley around on set, you know, and do no. They were guys that they collared and put masks on and sat them in cantina bar. You know, they want some of them weren't even actors that they'd hired in. Some of them were agency actors, and some of them were actually just members of staff,
yeah.
a cameraman or an extra or whatever. They just shoved them in the mask and stuck them in cantina, and they did that with a lot of scenes. But you know, saved him a lot of money, but he ended up making a lot of money. Brilliant.
Yeah. So that's it. The moral of the story is, kids, it's telling the story. It's not looking for the money. It's not trying to sell the tickets. It's having a need to tell the story.
Yeah.
If you're all artists in all mediums, whatever it is that you do, essentially as storytellers, and that's the thing to try and not lose sight of. That's what.
A start, a middle, and an end. Put your heart and soul into a story. Make it mean something to somebody or a lot of
Yeah.
people, and at some point it'll get recognised. You know. Again, with group, we had a start, we've got a middle, and there's going to be no end, because we've got younger end that are coming up, and I'm always, you know, taking on new guys and younger guys that are into the comics and the newer movies and stuff like that. So as I'm getting too old to costume up when I get older, you know, I can't. I mean, nobody knows how old I am in a Wookiee suit or a biker scout suit, so
Yeah.
it's irrelevant. But some of the younger guys then can, so when I stop costuming and just organise the events and go to them, they're the ones that are coming up in the ranks and taking over from the older guys that are getting a bit dropping to bits. Do you know? They've been doing it a long time.
Yeah, lightsaber takes a few more presses to get it to come up. It happens to all of us eventually.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we do the lightsaber training as well. We're actually sponsored by Padawan Outposts as well, which are an amazing guys that supply a lot of people with just outstanding lightsabers. You know, people should check out Padawan Outposts. They sponsor our lightsaber training. We approached them, or one of the guys in the group approached them for me, and they got back to us and said, yeah, and they sent us 5 or 6 lightsabers out. And I've got 3 or 4 other guys that do lightsaber training at the event sometimes. And they're actually enactment guys, so they know exactly what they're doing with swinging a sword around and lightsabers. So they teach the kids how to do lightsaber form training, you know, and all that sort of stuff. So it's pretty cool. We don't just do the costumes and the backdrops. We have the lightsaber training at events as well.
Amazing. I think lightsabers, you can correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I believe lightsabers are one of the, not so much a continuity error, but just a face of, as a work in progress, as these films are being made. I think didn't originally Lucas was telling actors that like they're really heavy and stuff.
Yeah.
These hilts, and so some of the sword play, like in the original trilogy, how it's kind of slow and sort of lumbered, like using a broadsword for the Knights of Old. It's all very two-handed, and then, but obviously it's much more fun. People want to see like the fast Hollywood kind of stuff that we kind of get, that then Lucas put into the prequels, because he's saying, but these are the Jedi in their prime, like at their height of their powers.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like,
Well,
through using the Force, you can throw heavy things around like as if they're light.
unless they were Jedi Knights or which takes them a long time to get to that stage. In theory, in the movie,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm only talking movie talk. Obviously, they don't get in the battles till they get a lot older and a lot more established as a Jedi. So, that's why you don't see bits of kids. I mean, Anakin were an exception. Whenever you see kids with a lightsaber, they're all little Padawans. They're not. They've got to grow into it. And the guys that do the lightsaber training for us are slightly older guys, the full Jedi costumes with grey beards, and they look the part. And we take that to events for free as well. We just stick a bucket on the table and say, look, donations welcome. We don't charge for lightsaber training either. So it's all to do with charity. If you start charging people, it's wrong. It's for charity. It's
absolutely just beautiful, mind-blowing and beautiful. There's not enough of this in the world in general, I think. There's plenty of Star Wars, but I mean, people, really good souls like this, doing things like
I've
this.
got a comment on the bottom of here of it's actually one of my members, Heckmando, from Heckman. He's but he's about 90-year-old when he gets out of his suit. Yeah, because I've been walking on sweating and my back's killing me, and you get out of the suit and you're like, it's all worth it at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah,
he's having a laugh now, just winding me up. He's one of my friends, so I'll just ignore that comment.
I've got to take the opportunity to put this out there, because I haven't found myself with enough people to bring this up to as a Star Wars fan. So, did you see Top Gun Maverick?
Yes.
Yes. So, like me, did that film finish and you just thought, hang on, I've just watched a remake of A New Hope? This old guy trained up a young guy to go on a mission with these flying things where they had to go through this, I don't know.
I don't
like,
think.
I
get where you're coming from.
Could we say trench run? And they had to send something high up to distract the guns so that this one small fighter could get through. And even when he gets to the end to hit this small target, that they also make a point of saying how small this target is, and he's got these fancy computers and they don't work, and he's going to do it manually.
Yeah. I can see where you're coming from now. Just saying hello to UK Walkers as well. Just saying hello to UK Walkers as well. These are a big group that do all the zombies and the dead versions and stuff. That doing a bit of Star Wars as well. These are an amazing group of guys. These are really cool. There's another different type of costume group to Star Wars, but they're called UK Walkers. But they do all they'll walk up behind you and scare the daylights out of you. They're pretty good at it. But yeah, I see similarities to what you're on about in the Top Gun Maverick film. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, not scene for scene, obviously, but in the sort of the overarching context, I just couldn't. It really jumped out at me. I turned straight. The people I was watching was, "Did you just see what I just saw?" And they were all like, "No, I don't see it." I'm like, "What?"
We all
blatant.
Like we all Star Wars films as well. Like we were saying earlier on, some of us like certain movies, some of us don't. Some of us see things or read things into those films that might hit them personally, and other people might go, "I don't get it." You know what I mean? Like you saw the Top Gun thing. I get what you're saying now as you've described it.
I was just thinking, if I was Lucas, I'm suing this midget. Like, it's all right. His cruise is probably good for it, So,
well, I think
I would want like 10% of whatever that movie grossed, and it did quite well.
Yeah, I think they're on about doing another one, aren't they?
Well, it made a shit ton of money, so it's probably inevitable.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah,
the storyline really calls for it or not.
They'll rinse it out, won't they, and drag it out. It's.
I think so. Like
the Rocky films and the Jaws films. The Jaws films just after 1 and 2, they just I don't know. They just flaked. Shark was CGI, and it just wasn't the same. And it's a lot of people just think like the prequels. A lot of it was CGI, but a lot of it wasn't CGI as well.
No,
A lot of
no,
it,
no,
like,
no.
massive built models that they'd made. Yeah, of course, you can tell some of it's got to be CGI,
Yeah,
but a lot of the sets were actually proper sets that they built, miniature
yeah,
sets, and they had the cameras flying around them and stuff. It was just amazing. I bet to actually try and buy something like that from an auction,
mm.
you'd be skint for the rest of your next 10 lives. To own an actual piece of the original films. Um, I've got one or two little bits that are hidden and snuck away that I've actually got that were in one of the original films, but it's not brought up publicly all the time because I keep it
Yeah,
low because you
keep it
don't want
safe.
your house break. No, it's no, that's a lot of my stuff's all signed by original actors as well. You know, Jeremy Bullock. When I met Jeremy Bullock, bless him, he's passed away now. I got a canvas done. He signed it. He passed away, and the artist then desperately wanted to buy it back, and I'm like, I'm never going to get that again.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's no way I'm ever parting with it. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, you need to do a Qui-Gon Jinn anyway, mate.
I'm way too small.
Oh yeah,
I'm way
well,
too.
I'll tell him.
I'm an Ewok. I know I'm an Ewok. I know what I'd like to be, but I know when push comes to shove, I'm just a hairy little soft-bodied guy. I, people, yeah,
I'm a very big
like
soft-bodied guy. I'm
the
6'1".
hot topic, across movies and TV shows is, like representation and diversity,
Yeah.
and it's all right. We need to see more women in lead roles kicking ass and more different ethnicities and all of that. It's all true. I agree 100%, especially because I'm still waiting for my representation because I don't look up at the screen and see, Chris Hemsworth or Tom Hardy and think that's me. That is
No,
the
I,
closest thing.
I,
The
I
closest thing
don't
I
put the screen
have
to,
is the
I don't
damn
put the screen
Ewoks.
to anybody. I'm saying that just opposite scale here. I say I'm 6'1". My wife always argues and say, no, you're not. You're 6 foot. You always try to have that little bit. She like I say, she's I say owner at group. It's only in brackets. I don't own anybody. I'm just the founder of the group and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
And my wife does a lot of the admin side of stuff and that because she can spell better than me. Um, she's a really intelligent lady, you know what I mean. So she's my backup on everything. I've got it up here. I know what I want to do or what I want to put or what I want to post. I have to triple check everything I do. So I'll say to her, wife, this is what I want. Can you? And she'll, yeah, no problem. She'll do it. It's just amazing. Like each individual guys in group. We've got a lot of females in group. They're all wonderful. We've got our own media team with Sarah Elizabeth and Charlie Lovett. His photography team. They're all really well clued up. They all ask permission. Chris Charlesworth and there's several guys in group and they'll ask permission from parents if it's okay to have photographs because
Yeah,
safeguarding and
yeah,
everything else.
yeah.
We have his own personal liability insurance. Everything's done really professional, but we do it guys will say, right, Chris, what do you want us to do? And I say, right, this, and this. But don't forget, have a break when you need one. Take you an hour for your dinner. And I like to keep it quite relaxed for lads and lasses
Yeah.
because they come and enjoy the day. Then, when they enjoy it, they want to come back. We've got an event coming up soon at the Leeds Rhinos. We're doing a 3-hour meet and greet. Then we're going out on the pitch. They've got Sky Sports filming it. And the Leeds Rhinos are going to donate between £1,000 and £1,500 to his charity. So,
Really?
wow, yeah, amazing. Tattoo convention, they're going to have an auction on the day with tattoo equipment, time, art, tattoo time, and everything that's raised throughout that day from the auction, and they're going to give it to us for our charity. They're making our charity the main charity of the event. So yeah, no, it's nice. I upped the game a little bit this year and sort of said to organisers, is there anything you can help us with? Because sometimes we'll do events, we'll spend hours and hours and hours in costume, we'll travel for an hour, 2 hours,
Yeah.
we'll get there, we're setting up props and this and that, we'll stand there all day, we might only get 50 quid, 60 quid, 70 quid, and you're like, it's a bit deflating. But when you think that's nearly a couple of hours of counselling for somebody, sort of perks you back up again. Now, event organisers, quite often I'm saying, it's about you can help us with. So some of the newer event organisers now are going, well, yeah, well, we can hold this, we'll make the charity about your event. The StarCon that we've just done, they're going to send me some money over to give to charity on top of what we did because we attended and we helped them make their event really nice. So yeah, it's up and down. A lot of the outdoor events are the better payers for the charity. As you can imagine, a lot of Comic Cons they do see Stormtroopers, they do see Mandalorians. I mean, we bring something different. We bring the props and the backdrops and the free photo ops and the Mandalorian.
I was going to ask, do you find some events the organisers, however they've got in touch with you, but
yeah,
and obviously I'm sure they've checked out your websites and everything before getting in touch. But have you ever found that maybe they didn't quite expect what you were bringing, and they've been like way more impressed than maybe they expected to be when you turned up?
Yeah, I mean, we've stepped in with other groups have let people down at events in past. And like I said, when we've turned up and we've gone, yeah, I can bring you this, I can bring you droids, I can bring you that. And we've set up and it's all set up and we've got the Mando one for the kids and this. And they've gone, wow. And I've had other people from other events.
A couple of guys in like brown and that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I generally get asked how many people are coming to events so that they've got numbers for a changing room size because I organise the fact that they might have bottles of water and crisps and chocolate and snacks throughout the day for the guys. They'll put a bit of some on. And if they don't, I'll buy it out of my own pocket, which I do quite often. Or some of the guys might turn around and say, well, I'll grab a pack of water and that. Or somebody else will go, I'll grab. And people tend to chip in a little bit, you know what I mean? So we all help each other. I mean, one of the events that we did, we had an event organizer come and see us, and they were like, can you do our event? Yeah, sure, when is it? And we confirmed the date. And I said, what would you like? They went, everything. Everything you do, we want at our event. It's amazing. The characters are so interactive, you know, and what you're doing with the Mando and the props, it's just, we want you at our event. So, yeah, and now they want us at their event every year, you know, so. I mean, I've even got a Luke Skywalker's battery-operated land speeder. You know, the kids' child ride on. Sorry that you have. I bought one of them to bring to events now and again for kids to get in and have a free ride around on it. You know, one of my guys will walk around with them so they don't take someone's legs out. But I'm hoping to be able to take it to Aintree Comic Con. It's another good one to check out is Aintree Comic Con, because you've got Brian Wheeler going as well, who won the original Ewoks, and I've told him I'd take it for him to get in and have a ride around in it because he's solid. You know what I mean? Yeah, Aintree Comic Con's a great one in Liverpool. It's an amazing event. And the guy who organises it, John, he's actually one of the Wookiees in my group now and again. So it's a back scratching situation. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah.
So we'll I'll let you start wrapping up.
No worries.
So what's I was just thinking. I don't want to ask you.
You just get a brain fart.
I don't want to make you pick a. I don't know if I want to make you nail your colours to try and actually pick it. Do you have of the what have we got now? 3 from that trilogy, 3 from the other, 3 from the other, 3, 6, 9, 12, 11 sort of canon movies with Rogue One, Solo Story, the prequels, the sequels, the original. Is there one? Can you pick one? As a favourite? Might only just nudge it, but is there a favourite?
Yeah, Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, Empire Strikes Back, and it's only just picking all of the Star Wars films. I'm a proper Star Wars fan, you know, like you were saying yourself earlier on. You know, and people can complain about this movie, complain about that movie, but if somebody turned around and said to myself or yourself or them, would you like to appear in the next Star Wars movie? If they're a Star Wars fan, they're going to go, yeah, of course I bloody would. You know what I mean? But yeah, Empire Strikes Back's one of my favourites. Rogue One, I liked it, but it were our Solo story, I liked it because you got to see when Chewie first meets Han, how Han gets his name, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, it's always going to be original trilogies for me because of my age. Because I went and sat in the cinemas and watched them when they first ever came
yeah,
out, and there were nothing else like it on the planet. So that's always going to have that special place in my heart. You know what I mean? As movies go.
yeah.
So
No,
yeah, no, no,
yeah,
definitely.
for me, overall as a movie, it's Empire.
Yeah,
But I think, uh, again, I'll just say it. People, many people will greatly disagree with me. I know this, but I think that first episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. I think that first sort of around 20 minutes, like literally from the fanfare and the opening crawl, right up to crash landing the ship. I think that is like my favorite Star Wars. Just
yeah.
it has it has the characters, it has the droids, it has spoilers, the Emperor. We don't know just yet,
Yeah,
but it
yeah.
has droids, it has the Emperor, it has Jedi's, it has lightsaber battles, it has force powers, it has proto X-wings or whatever. It actually has a war in the stars, which there's
Yeah.
surprisingly little of in all these films, considering
The
the
Star Wars,
name.
Star
So
Wars film has got to have a little bit of everything Star Wars in it. It's got to have the lightsaber fights. It's got to have the X-wings and the Tie fighters and the bad guy. It's got to, it's got to have all those sort
yeah,
of things, stuff that you can relate to. I think one of my, I've got a few favourite scenes. But one of my favourite scenes is the Darth Maul fight with the Duel of Fates
yeah,
music. That music comes on, you instantly think of Darth Maul. It's Darth Maul. Um, and again, like in the Empire Strikes Back and all that sort of stuff. I've quite difficult to pick a favourite scene when you love all
yeah.
of it.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's cool, but
I just, like I
the
said,
final scene with Obi-Wan, when those barriers shields go back after Qui-Gon's been murdered by Darth Maul, and you're looking at Obi-Wan Kenobi, and you can see his face just getting nastier and nastier, and as if he could change the dark side quite
yeah,
easily if he had to. And he comes out running, and it's a fight. It's a speeded up fight. It's not a slow motion effort. It's a full on
yeah,
battle between them two. Um, so I think that's one of more exciting sort of. And I do like. I know I'll probably get slated for this as well, but Rise of Skywalker right at the end when you've got Lando Calrissian going, yeah, but there's more of us, and all the ships turn up. You know what I mean? And again, it's a nostalgia thing because of my age. It's Lando with characters and Millennium Falcon and all original ships. You
yeah,
know what I mean? All original trilogies are all turning up to help Ray out. And it's blended all the films into one then with
yeah, yeah.
the characters.
Yeah, they
And
make
3PO
some.
and Daniel he were lovely. A lot of people moaned about his attitude, but I just walked over to him and said, "Do you know something, mate? You've been in every single Star Wars film. You are Star Wars." So the man's head just
Yeah.
swelled. And instantly, he had time for me. He stood there talking to me for half an hour. Absolutely loved it. He even signed a book and gave me it for free because he knew I was there as Chewbacca in the morning at one of the Monopoly
Yeah.
events. And in the afternoon, I'd gone over and said, "Hey, mate, I was walking around as Chewie." He goes, "Oh, I bet you were really warm in that, blah, blah, blah." I've gone across to buy his autograph, which I did, which is on my wall there, right behind me.
Hey.
Um, and then when I got talking to him, he asked me, about the costuming and how I'd made it, and and I told him about the group and stuff of the charity, and he signed one of the books and donated it to me. So that was lovely. You know what I mean? So yeah, he was a really nice guy. Surprisingly nice, seeing as people have been saying he's a bit
Well,
standoffish, but he wasn't. He was nice.
perhaps, but I'm quite a big believer in sort of you get what you give. You know,
Yeah, I
I,
mean,
I
he
think
kept
perhaps
on
it would.
standing behind his screen in between talking to people, so nobody could take a photograph of him. You do get some characters like that. I'm afraid you do, but majority of them are really nice and down to earth and really, really nice. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Especially ones that we meet at events, so they see what we do and what we bring, and why we do it. For to wish. And 9 times out of 10, they're lovely, absolutely lovely. So yeah, I've had some really cracking moments meeting some movie stars over the years.
So, is there something in Star Wars that you haven't seen
I've not seen
that
any
you'd
of the
like?
animated series. I've not seen any of the animated series. I've not seen any of the Clone Wars, any of those sort of stuff. My daughter's watched them over and over again, and I keep getting told off by my friends. I keep getting told off by my daughter for not watching them.
Yeah.
But it's not that the cartoons don't appeal to me. I like to see movies. I know, yeah, cartoons are movies as well, but I don't know. It's just not the same. It's not the same. I think to me, it's I don't know. I don't know. I'm just probably waffling on, but
Yeah. No,
it doesn't appeal to me.
is there something like something you'd like to see happen or turn up or something that
I'd
you
like
could just like I say from your own imagination as we used to play as kids, and it'd be really cool to see that on screen. What if that happened? You know that hasn't yet. You know.
a long lost kid that's some kid of Luke Skywalker's that turns up and becomes a more of a badass version of Luke Skywalker. A second part of um, the Solo movie, you get to see Darth Maul standing at the end of it and Kira talking to him, but then nothing after that.
Nothing.
There's no follow up of it. You know, I
No,
mean, they pick out certain things from comics and cartoons, don't they, and put them in the films, but they expect everybody to understand that and know what it follows on, but not everybody does.
no.
Um, so I think they should bring something else out to follow Solo. I mean, we started getting to see Han Solo's adventures with Chewbacca when he first meets him, and then Kira, then Darth Maul. But I think there should be a good film about a bit more about Maul then, and his brother, and you know all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff, and maybe Solo a little bit older, having a couple of close shaves, getting
Yeah.
away from him.
And you know what? It's all about that.
So,
It's the Solo movie. For some reason, didn't make a great deal of, which is
no,
probably why they haven't continued anything. But I forget the actor's name now, but I think he did a great job. I think he must have watched hours upon hours upon hours of Harrison Ford movies
I,
because I think he
I personally thought it was
nails it.
just like him. I thought it was just like him as a younger
Yeah,
version.
I feel like he absolutely
Attitude
nailed
wise,
it.
yeah, I do. I agree. I think he nailed it. I thought he
And
was absolutely brilliant in it.
it's a solo movie, so that's the main thing to get right. You know,
Yeah, you
if
watch
other things are a bit
it for a
off,
film on its
and they
own.
did get that right, so I find
Yeah,
it quite watchable. I don't mind at all.
yeah. It wasn't part of a trilogy. It was just the Solo movie about Han Solo.
Yeah,
I mean, like you got a few really cool characters in it, like Enfys Nest, you know, and those train troopers that walked with
yeah,
Magneto. Oh, they're mint. They're brilliant. I love them. But yeah, no, yeah, it's nice because, like I say, you got to realize how Chewie meets Han Solo and how he gets his gun because it's the other character who breaks his gun down and gives him the DL-44 then, and that's how he gets his iconic gun and how he learns how to spin it because he's watched him. You know, it sort of gives you a little bit of an insight of how his character starts to mold. You
yeah. So,
know, so yeah,
um, so speaking of his gun and Empire Strikes Back, as we have,
yeah,
when he takes out this probe droid on Hoth,
yeah. It's Prob Georgia.
yeah,
We've got
and it must have
a size in them.
and it must have had a self destruct, right? Because he didn't hit it that hard.
Yeah,
You
no, he hit it in the he really
you
hit it
could
in the right
set this
place.
gun to tickle, can you?
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, it had seen him on it, you know. Obviously, it turned in the film because Chewie makes that noise. It turns. Han Solo goes to shoot it before it shoots
Yeah,
them. You know, so like you say, I mean, there were a lot of arguments. Of did he actually hit it in the right place to make it explode, or did it self-destruct? You
yeah.
know what I mean?
But
So, but I mean, I think they say in the film it went offline. So,
I've always just found it a very curious line of script. I didn't hit it that hard. There's only one level of hard
yeah,
or soft you could have hit it. You might, if you
he
didn't hit
didn't run
his
over goal.
there's different places you could have hit it, but like this thing just shoots and that's it, you know.
Yeah.
As far as I know.
Well, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I think I
I mean,
sent Fluffy and
I'm not going to pull apart what we both consider possibly the greatest film ever made,
yeah,
but like that
no,
last
no, I
one
know what you
line
mean.
always kind of just
I mean,
it tickles
we
me
all
more than
know
anything.
we live in that fantasy world when we're watching the film, but we all know that everything were painted battleship grey, all the bad guys, because that were the abundance of paint they had because of warehouses
Yeah,
full of it from from the wars, and the sand troopers backpacks were made out of seed trays and toilet system parts and whatever they could get their hands on. Everything were made by whatever anybody could. They'd make something and go up to Lucas. What do you think of that? Yeah, great. Put it in that scene, and it were all made out of
yeah,
crap.
because we're on a budget, we're on a time
skip
limit.
writing.
We're on a budget, we're on a time limit. We're shooting this scene
Yeah,
now. It's gotta go.
yeah. Somebody's been skip writing and found a few bits and stuck
Yeah,
it together. I watched them at once when it showed them actually around the back at the studios throwing R5 and R2D2 droids and all sorts in the skip because they'd finished with them. And you're like, they'll be worth millions
I
now.
could have had that.
Yeah, they lived up one side of the fence and have been hopping over. Yeah,
Oh, man, I mean, I think I saw somewhere um, Qui-Gon's sort of communicator, and
yeah, we're a lady shave or something
it's
like
yeah, yeah. Apparently, they just didn't have anything. They were
that.
trying to come up with various things, and either Lucas was saying, "No, I don't like that," or they just had kind of, I don't know, writer's block for prop departments, whatever you call that, prop makers block or something. And then at the last minute, it was they just kind of sprayed it and went about this, and it
Yeah, lady shave.
probably for no other reason than, well, we've got to just shoot the scene now, so it'll do. And it's one of those. It's one of those. It's only when you know, and then you watch it back, and it's so
Yeah, you
obvious.
don't know
Now you
it's
can't
the
not
other side.
see a shaver.
Well, it's like the Beskar bucket that the Mandalorian has. It's an ice cream tub. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? It was an ice cream tub, and they changed it and messed around with it. Again, like I said, the sand troopers were toilet cisterns and seed trays and old H-framed backpacks and all that sort of stuff. The sand troopers started out. A lot of sand trooper armor started out as stormtrooper armor,
hmm.
and as it got knackered and dirty, they swapped it about. And we have all this. Everything has to look just so, which is cool and it's great. You got to remember in the original films, a lot of the armor were cracked and damaged, and one guy would have somebody else's thigh piece on, and somebody else would have somebody else's chin on. So a lot of stuff, if you watch it, apart from on the Death Star where they had everybody's stormtroopers were all pristine,
Yeah.
a lot of the troopers walking around all had odd sized pieces on or cracks in the shoulders,
But
and
that's even though it may not have been entirely intentional um, that way, and just a case of working on a budget.
yeah,
But that's what makes it so good. That's what hooks us in. Even subconsciously, we might not realize this as children watching, but that's what makes it
yeah.
a real world. Because if you're a real
You grew up, yeah,
stormtrooper going around doing stormtrooper stuff, chasing smugglers and arresting people and getting up to all kinds of mischief,
yeah.
your armor's not going to be pristine for very long.
No,
Um,
no.
so
I've known a
it's so
few
much
guys that
better
own
for looking lived
stormtrooper
in.
armor. Yeah, I've known a few guys that have owned Stormtrooper armor, and they've got that fed up of cleaning it. They've changed the ab plate to a Sandtrooper ab plate because it's different. Stormtrooper armor has the buttons on, and the Sandtrooper is just the rectangle shape. And a lot of the Sandtroopers didn't have like the drop boxes on the legs and stuff like that. So what they've done is they've just weathered it all up anyway, and every time it gets chucked in and out the kit box and this and the more marks and weathering it gets on it, the better it looks.
Yeah.
I used to do Stormtrooper years ago until I got a bit too plump for it, and it used to drive me mental, absolutely mental, because you've got this plastic armor that's pure white, trying to keep it pure white so that you look like that Stormtrooper on
Yeah.
that Death Star. It's a nightmare, and trying to stop it from losing colour or yellowing, and all that sort of stuff. So I changed the ab plate out. I got a Sandy backpack and Sandtrooper backpack, and I weathered it all up and changed. I've got my original helmet in cabinet over there on end, except Biker Scout.
Hey.
So Yeah, it just makes life a lot easier. We can just check it off and chuck it in the box and not have to worry about. But a lot of these guys have been. I know, like, so I've got guys in the group that are UK Garrison and they've gone to like RS Prop Masters and this and the other. Spending nearly £2,000 on a Stormtrooper kit. You know, you've got a Wookiee talking £3,000 or £4,000. You know, you've got Mandalorians, guys that have built their own custom Mandalorians. They've spent a lot of money on stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, we've got guys in our group that do it. Luckily enough, there's guys in our group that do like 3D printing and costume building and stuff like that. So everybody tends to help each other out, which is really
Yeah.
cool. My youngest daughter, Lizzie, she does Bush Leia. She's got the full proper Bush Leia costume, but she's exactly the same height and build as Carrie Fisher was when she were in it. So it looks
Wow.
mint. When she stood outside of me, but she's only dinky, it just makes Chewie look bigger, and she just looks bang on. Then you know what I mean? So it's
Brilliant.
yeah. That's what my son does, an Imperial officer. Uh, and Luke from Endor. My wife does a female version of Director Krennic, and she does the armor from the Mandalorian. So family sort of thing, you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Going back to it being family, you know, there's guys in group that it's mother and son, or it's father and daughter, or it's husband and wife and their kid.
Yeah.
You know, another mini misfit. You know, it's nice because everybody's sort of on the same page with each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really.
It's very much so. My boy is boy. He's like 20 years old.
Just
Um,
I'm just laughing here. UK Walkers, my mask for UK Walkers cost me about £1,000. He's like, yeah, my mask. He does a Darth Maul as well. He's a zombie, but he does Darth Maul. He's just done a few big events. But yeah, my mask in the UK for the UK Walkers were like £1,000. Like, what was you know, it's a lot of money. A Wookiee head, you're talking £1,000, £2,000.
yeah, I mean, you've got to have a serious passion and commitment,
Problem, yeah,
to for a problem. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It's
But I
a
think that's. I think people know that. You know, people can tell that. People can see that, and I think that's also what they appreciate. They know this is not a guy in a brown cardigan with a hood and a big stick. You know,
No, no, these guys
this
have spent
is.
a lot of money. These
Well, I
guys, a
think
lot
when
of these
you
guys
guys
are
rock
really
up,
movie actors.
it's obvious that there's something big happening here.
Yeah, yeah, of course. A lot of these guys have spent a lot of the time and a lot of money on these costumes, try to get them as close to accurate as possible. Unless it's a custom piece that they've built. I mean, you got to remember as well. There's a lot of people out there that are quite that suffer with anxiety, are quite anxious. They're not really good in public spaces normally. And there's a lot of costumers, not just Star Wars costumes, but costumers in
Yeah,
general, that dressing up in a costume and going out there where they don't normally get noticed or in everyday life, or they can't really go out without, you know, and be outgoing and outrageous. Um, these costumes are giving them a chance to go out there and be themselves and enjoy themselves, going out in a big public places and dressing up and just having a really fun time because nobody can see who they are. They can be what they want to be.
yeah,
They can live in that fantasy world for the day, you know. And like I said, that's not just like my group. That's any group or any costume or any cosplayer. I mean, there's normal everyday married men. There's guys that, or females that suffer anxiety. That's why that's stuff like quiet rooms at events sometimes. You know, for some people. Um, there's a wide variety of backgrounds for people that turn up and do this. Not just for doing it for charity, but do it for the love of
yeah,
it. You know, Star Wars costuming or the superhero costuming. You know, you've got such as like the Cosmaniacs that do Iron Man and Spider Man and all that sort of stuff. They're friends of ours as well. So I'm sort of dropping names a little bit here and there, but they're great guys. And I know a couple of those. I know a couple of people that really do suffer anxiety, but once they've got the costume on, the helmet on, and they're out there being that character, it's a nice release from, you know what I mean, from the norm. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't suffer with that. I'm just a fruit bat. I'm all right.
yeah.
I'm just,
Yeah, no,
I'm just not normal in general.
you're you're
I'm just not normal in general.
you're entirely right though. There is something that just to be able to get that, like you said, that game face on and just
Yeah,
do a thing. I speak to a lot of people, a lot of like people in bands and things like that, and they're so shy and retired. perhaps even anxious and awkward, and then they
Yeah,
get they get the
it's a good
glad
way
rags
to
on
get
you.
out
You
there
sling
for
that
people.
guitar over the shoulder. You put them up on that stage, and it's a
Yeah.
different animal. It's a completely
Yeah,
different
and people have to
person.
remember as well, just because you've got a costume on and you're at an event, I mean, we're there as entertainers for my group and certain groups are. But there's a lot of costume and cosplayers there, they're doing it there for themselves to make themselves feel good. It doesn't give people permission to go and hang off them or touch them or grab them or
Yeah,
make them a
yeah.
photograph. You know, cosplay is not permission for everybody else to do what they want around them, expecting them to stand there and do this, that, and the other, because that don't work. That and that's unfair. That's somebody that's paid to get into an event. That's somebody that's spent a lot of time and energy and money on a costume. If they want a photograph, they'll approach them at photographers
Yeah.
or whatever. Again, such as my group, they've joined the group to raise money for charity. They're expecting to be collared for photographs all day long. But cosplayers, it's not, you know, just because in costume, it's not consent for people
Very
to
true.
take
Very true.
photographs or put their arms around them or hang off them, you know. And a lot of people have to remember that there is people out there that suffer with anxiety and depression and stuff like that. So, and that's their only release. If somebody starts mithering them, it's going to make them go back in the shell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but that's just that with a lot of things in life, innit? You know, you're left alone to get on with what you're doing and enjoy it. So.
Very
What's
true.
this? I'm not the same man in outfit. I am shy. Yeah, okay. Of course you are, you gay workers. Of course you are, mate. I know exactly. You're not shy at all, pal. You just get your heavy weapons Mandalorian fixed and finished. Don't be so tight. Buy out rest of it.
So, so just so let's just go
I think,
outside Star Wars then.
yeah.
So
I'll
outside of
walk with you because I'm gonna have to plug my phone in at the same time as crazy as it sounds because it went 15%. It was charged up, but it's just killed it. This is the wife's room. She's in Wonder Woman, and so
oh,
she,
there we go.
yeah, she don't complain about me having Star Wars because she's Wonder Woman mad. So it's again, she dresses as armor, but she's Wonder Woman mad. So sorry, mate,
That's
just
all right.
getting me charger out, buddy. It's got to be done, otherwise I can't continue this fantastic conversation I'm having with my friend. Lovely singing. There we go, and that's it. Cool. Charging. Brilliant.
There we go.
There we go.
Um,
Oh, well,
oh,
yeah, nice people.
that's nice.
Hi, honey.
So yeah, so just gonna say, so outside of Star Wars, what's your favorite fandom?
Um, well, aliens, because there's a few of the group that actually dress as full colonial marines. Got a friend of mine that does the full xenomorph as well from Aliens. We went to, we go sometimes, well, I've organised it every year, so it's a free event for us to be invited to as characters, which is a nice release, guys, just a break from Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's the HorrorCon UK that's held at Sheffield Magna Centre every year. And we went as the Colonial Marines, which I think you've seen the picture I put up on Instagram, I think. Did you see it? You put a
Probably,
like on it?
yeah.
Yeah. There's a few of us that do it. My wife actually does Vasquez as well. She's got the ginormous, massive. I said to her, "Do you want to do a Colonial Marine?" I said, "I'll start making you an helmet." She went, "Nah, I want that one." Such ended up being
Yeah.
Vasquez from the.
So,
Everybody's got gun envy from it now. You know what I mean? It's bigger than her. She's only like 5 foot odd. So bloody guns up here.
ah.
Bless her. We got gun envy once at a Comic Con. She'd gone as she'd gone as Sarah Connor from Terminator film. She'd gone to one of the Comic Con conventions as Sarah Connor. And there were a guy there doing a different costume altogether, and he had this great bloody blaster. So and then when I turned around and said, "Do you want to do a Colonial Marine?" No, she wanted the 4.5, nearly 5 foot bloody gun that's like 6 inch taller than her.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, as I said a little bit earlier, a lot of people talk about they want, diversity and representation, and
Yeah.
we definitely do need more of that. But I like to point out to people, because some people talk about it as if there aren't any, and it's like, so, but Ellen Ripley and Sarah Connor, like two of
Yeah.
the most badass world-saving
Family
hero
again.
characters that you can get, and
Yeah.
they're women, and they're played incredibly well by incredibly fantastic actresses, and they're incredibly well written. So we don't have enough of them, but don't talk like there isn't any. Don't, heaven
Yeah,
forbid,
don't say
heaven
there ain't any
forbid.
female heroes when there is. There's several. I mean, I like the Predator film
That,
Prey.
that was
It's
great. I was
a great
very
film.
pleasantly surprised by that.
I was pleasantly surprised with that. I've watched that several times. And I
Yeah.
think one of the films I've watched more times lately than anything at the moment is the Beekeeper with Jason Statham. Have you seen it yet?
Oh, there we go.
Are you sticking again? I'm probably sticking.
Yeah,
Keep going. Have you seen The Beekeeper with Jason Statham?
I have.
Yeah,
I have.
I've watched that repeatedly.
Yeah, I mean it's Jason Statham, so you know what you're going to get, and that's what you get. I think.
It's pretty much the same guy in every film, isn't he? Literally.
Yeah, very much so.
We just have a different film and a different surrounding around him, but he's still the kicking, fighting guy. And,
Yeah,
it's
I
just
think
that's
the, the only thing for me that kind of I don't really do like star ratings or out of 10 or whatever, but the only thing for me about the Beekeeper that would have sort of loses a star, if you will,
it's
is I just
that
wasn't that
accent.
invested in why he was kicking ass. I just wanted to watch him do it. I didn't really care
Yeah,
why. I didn't really care. Wasn't really too invested on whether he sort of wins or
it
not, because he
was
will.
his fake American accent that got me. That was just,
It's
yeah.
not
And
so
then
bad.
yeah, it was just rubbish,
I
rubbish
I
accent.
always wonder with actors and accents, like, is it in any way such a relevant part of the character?
No,
Do you not?
because she
You
says to
don't
me in
get.
the film,
I don't like someone to throw some big diva strop, but if it was me, I'd just be like, there is no reason this guy can't be English. Can I just speak and
well, she
deliver
actually
the line?
she says in film, doesn't she? I can detect a bit of British Isles in that accent.
Yeah,
So why didn't you just
like
start with his
which
accent?
is a line that they obviously wrote in afterwards when they realised he wasn't very good at it. So they thought, well, Easter egg
yeah,
in a
yeah,
joke. How
yeah,
about you
yeah.
just don't do it then? Just
Aye, aye,
let the
Captain
man
Dan
speak.
Sparrow. Say hello to Captain Dan Sparrow. He's one of the best Captain Jack Sparrow's impersonators I've ever seen in my life. He's an amazing guy. Really, really nice. Really, he is. He is a good guy. He sounds just
I,
like him as well. Goes to all adventures,
I,
like Captain Jack Sparrow.
I believe we're getting some more of those at some point.
Yeah, I think you can milk films to death. I think you can milk films to death. Yeah, and go back to accents as well. I think the accents got to suit the
Yeah.
character.
Well, I
You
mean,
couldn't have had Darth Vader with a broad Scottish accent, could you? Like, lad, you're
well,
my
I
wee
mean,
boy. Yeah.
or could you? I mean, it's is it only because looking back and it's so iconic that now anything else sounds wrong? But if it had have been Sean Connery instead of James Earl Jones in the first place,
Yeah, well, I think that it chose James Earl Jones because of his theatrical background and his
yeah,
deep voice and the way he could pronounce stuff quite clear and such as like a lot of the older actors, they had very distinct voices, didn't they? Yeah, Sean Connery could have. Yeah, maybe not. I
it's
don't think it's the same now. But I mean, if you'd only ever known it as Sean Connery, you wouldn't have known any different.
yeah,
Yeah, but yeah,
yeah. I think with the Pirates franchise, I think when Johnny Depp was actually telling them have a break, we should
yeah.
have a break, and they weren't listening. I think when even Depp's telling you, I think we should make more, but I just think we should have a year off or something.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
they should have listened to him back then, because now I'm not sure if it's been
Well,
either too
if it's not
long
in
that
if it's
nobody's
not going to be in the
interested.
terms of what it's saying, will it? It won't be the same without Captain Jack Sparrow in it. It won't be the same.
No, I think ultimately that is what people were probably watching.
Yeah, Mark Goldthorpe. Ironically, James Earl Jones was a stutterer
Yeah,
when he was younger. Yeah, he had speech impediment when he was younger, didn't he? And he took a lot of work on
yeah,
that. But ultimately, I think they chose the right guy for his voice. I think they did for Vader's voice.
yeah.
You know,
And
when he was being Vader walking around, and obviously the guy that played Darth Vader had a Cornwall sort of accent, but he actually said all the lines. He didn't know that his voice was going to get dubbed
yeah,
over at the time. He thought it was going to be his voice when they were filming it, and then they dubbed it over with his voice. How you doing?
yeah. And even and even if you were, come on, is it Sebastian Shaw? Originally, that got to be the ghosty, that got to be the Force ghost
Yeah,
at the end, who's now been replaced by the Force ghost of Aiden Christensen.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
When
I mean, it's
they
like,
digitally remastered it all. Yeah,
but I mean,
yeah, definitely.
it kind of had to be done. To it, it probably is a better continuity to do that. I think
Yeah.
it works. I can definitely let that slide. But
Oh yeah, yeah,
um,
definitely,
it,
definitely.
I mean, I think it makes sense either way. By the time he died, he was a middle-aged man, you know. But because
Well,
like
he's the guy that took the army out, so people expected to see that guy as a
yeah,
ghost. Obi-Wan Kenobi was that ghost. Yoda, same character, Yoda was the same character. So why did they change the Force ghost of Vader to somebody to Anakin when he was younger? I don't know. That didn't make sense to me. I thought it should have been left as the older guy.
yeah, it would have still tracked.
They didn't put
I
it back
get why
to
they did
Obi-Wan
it.
Kenobi from Clone Wars, did they? Yeah, they didn't do the Force. They didn't change it to Obi-Wan Kenobi from the Clone Wars.
Yeah,
So why mess with it if
see,
don't fix it if it's broken?
I know it probably won't happen because we've got the huge cartoon Clone Wars series and Rebels as well. So the Clone Wars has been done really quite thoroughly. But for the longest time, that's something I wanted to see. I wanted to see a Clone Wars movie. I was up for
Yeah,
that. Clone troopers, stormtroopers, the tanks, the gunships, and maybe a few sprinkling of Jedi, but mainly focus on the troopers. And let's have a. We've done the magic sword wielding movies. Do this big war movie, with all
yeah,
these soldiers and guns and tanks and helicopters and all that stuff. And then we kind of thought, oh, it's Attack of the Clones. It's going to be the Clone Wars. It's like, no, right. Literally the last 30 seconds begun. The Clone Wars has. All right, so they'll do it in the next one. No, they didn't. And
yeah.
like, and
It'd be good to
now
see
that's
the
probably
movie
never going
version
to
of
be a
it.
thing.
Yeah, it'd be good to see movie version of the clones when Rex and Cody and all them lot.
I would have. I mean, I'll watch anything because it's Star Wars, but I would have definitely been hyped for that. I would have been up for a full-on Clone Wars movie.
Yeah, and more death. And someone's commenting
Just as
here
long as
and
it wasn't. Oh, we've got
again more Death Troopers.
again.
Still gone.
There we go.
Ah, back in
It's
the
about
room.
it. Yeah, full-on Clone Wars movie, provided it wasn't sort of written and directed by Tom Hanks. I would
Yeah,
have, I would have been really up for that. I mean, I still would be.
yeah.
But I think the chances, I think
Just for hell of it.
it's not happening now. I don't think.
Yeah,
I mean, because were, there was always supposed to be this bounty hunter movie, or which ended up being a Mandalorian,
yeah.
the Mandalorian TV show.
Which ruined it for me when he took his helmet off so soon in the films. I don't think the Boba Fett character should have taken his helmet off at all for ages. It's because he had that mistake in the original films, didn't he? Nobody knew who he was, his background and everything else. They've done the book of Boba Fett, but they haven't done a spin-off movie of Boba Fett and his background, how he became Boba Fett.
Yeah.
You know, we know that Jango Fett obviously was his dad, and then you see him as a child holding the helmet in the arena. Next thing you know, he's a full-grown adult in the cantina in Jabba's palace.
Yeah.
It don't give you a film story of Boba Fett.
It would seem that next logical step is, like you say, is Boba Fett the wilderness years kind of a thing. And
look at the training years.
And it struck me as very. I mean, I quite like The Mandalorian, but it struck me as very strange that if you're gonna do that guy, why didn't you just do Boba? You know, instead of creating this Din Djarin character, it was cool and all, but
again, it's one of them things, like we keep saying, we've all got us questions here, there, and everywhere, haven't we? Why this, why that, and you could have done it like that, you could have done it like that, but you know, I thought you get what you give it and enjoy it. You're a Star Wars fan.
But I recently, and I mean, this might be wrong. Certainly, kids don't believe everything you read on the internet.
No.
But I recently found out, or maybe not, that the who is it? Mandalorian, Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
That he just does the voice. He doesn't get in the suit.
He does get in the suit sometimes.
Right.
I mean, he's in the suit when he's taking his helmet off once or twice.
Once or twice.
But he is in the suit. He is in the suit occasionally. But a lot of the time, there's actually two separate guys that do it for stunt double reasons and legalities and all that sort of.
Because I mean, I understand you need. I know you need stunts. I'm a huge fan of stunts and stunt people. We mentioned Ray Park earlier. I've been a fan of his for a long time. But I understand that. But I was kind of a little bit disappointed to think that there's probably several. It's just a speaking scene, and he's phoning it in from a poolside somewhere, and that's actually somebody else I'm looking at.
I think they do that with Star Wars characters. I think they do that with some Wookiees like Chewbacca and stuff. And Vader. I mean, you know, there were stunt doubles in Vader as well. There were stunt doubles in Wookiees for Chewbacca when they were doing scenes of jumping off stuff.
Yeah.
You know, majority of the time it was Jonas being Chewie, but then he had stunt doubles. You know, it's and Vader. There were a couple of guys that played Vader doing fight scenes and stuff like that. You know, and some of the scenes he did it himself, and some were done by stunt doubles. You know, it's one of the things. I ain't got a stunt double. I'm just the madhead that does it all myself. You know, I've got no stunt doubles. Sometimes you stood there in costumes for hours and then sweating your backside off. You wish you had a stunt double.
Can imagine.
But it's the fact that you're doing it yourself, and that's what you get the enjoyment out of doing, seeing kids' faces. So, but yeah, trust me, at my age, I wish I had a stunt double. I wish I had a few stunt doubles. It starts getting a bit older, a bit harder as you get a bit older. But you know what?
Yeah. So, I mean, you did say even as a child you wanted to be Chewie.
Yeah.
And now you are Chewie.
Always been.
But for the sake of conversation and content, forgetting about your actual physical appearance, if you could be any other character,
if I could be any,
who would it be?
Probably Han Solo.
Yeah.
The lovable rogue, gets up to all sorts, got his finger in all sorts of different pies. He's always up to something that he shouldn't be up to, which is what my wife normally says, I'm up to something. I think it'd be Han Solo, I think, as another character. I mean, a lot of people would want to be the big bad battling guy, or, Darth Maul and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think, where are they? Where are they? They're all gone, they're all dead. Han Solo, he got killed eventually, but he outlasted most of them.
True.
So, so yeah, it's got to be Solo. I think if it's not Chewie, it's got to be Solo. We've got a great Han Solo in our group. He looks very much like Han Solo as Han Solo's older. Chris is brilliant, great guy, absolute great guy. If he knows if I'm, because I do other costumes as well, Biker Scout and and stuff like that. If I'm Chewy, he tends to like to come and he'll literally walk around with me 99% of the day as Han Solo and Chewbacca together. Or we've got lasses in the group that do Princess Leia as well. So there's a couple of us original.
If he still accidentally bump into something and knock something over or whatever, does he always say, "I don't know what happened. I didn't hit it that hard"?
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, you get guys. We've got a great photography team. Like I said, we've got Charlie and Sarah and Chris, and there's quite a few guys that took. And my wife sometimes walks around. My cat's meowing at me. Shut up, you. My wife generally walks around with me because, as you can imagine, at that height, at 7 foot odd, it's quite, and you've got the full mask on and everything. It's quite difficult to see when there's a small child come up right behind you, near your feet, or right in front of you. So you do have what we like spotters and Wookiee watchers and guys that generally look out for each other. I mean, I'm sort of used to low doorways and ducking down under stuff now. We'll always get people going, duck, no, stay duck, 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 duck. Right, you can stand up now. But I'm sort of eye level. I'm okay with, and ground. You're sort of adjusting your legs constantly as you're walking over uneven ground because you're on built-up stilts, and stuff like that. But it's good to have somebody looking out or watching out for you when you're doing like in a shopping mall or all like that. You've got little kiddies just randomly running up to you, and parents are too busy talking to each other and stuff. So you don't want to step back. I mean, I'm a 6 foot 18 stone guy, and then when I'm on them built up heavy stilts, and then I've got the costume on, if I stand on a child's foot, it's going to really hurt that kid, and that's the last thing I want to do. Do you know what I mean? So guys looking group look out for each other quite often. The ones that have got open face costumes on, such as X-wing fighter pilots and stuff like that, and Jedi's, if they say that somebody's going, you're going to trip over somebody, they'll hang on, wait a minute, hang on, and they sort of stop you or help you. So it's pretty good. They're all supportive of each other. I'm oblivious. I'm in my costume. I'm off. You know what I mean? Just stand on people as I'm walking past. Just get out of my way. I walk up behind people when they're looking at a stall at a Comic Con, and I'll stand right behind them, looking down at them. And turn around and go, ah! The amount of guys that will stand and have a photograph with Chewbacca, and they've got a little baby in their arms, and baby's crying its heart out because it's scared. They don't know what it is. It's just a big furry monster to this child. But the dad's adamant he's having a photograph with Chewbacca.
Oh yeah.
And this poor kid's suffering. It's funny.
Oh, what's shit? So if you can't say Darth Vader or the Emperor, who's your favourite bad guy?
If I can't say, it's got to be Darth Maul. To be honest, he's my favourite bad guy anyway. Vader's an obvious choice for a lot of people. I like Count Dooku. He's quite a good guy. Well, not a good guy, but a good character.
Yeah. That was inspired casting. I like the casting.
Yeah. But no, it's got to be Darth Maul every time. But I won't have the patience.
Yeah, it's just one of those quick. So it's a one and done, but it's just so damn cool, isn't he? Really,
it just hit you and impacted you, didn't it? And it's whoever likes Star Wars, he's in one episode of the film, and not and that's it. He's stuck with everybody in the brain for who likes Star Wars for the rest of their life. And the music, everything to do with that character, it sticks with you. I know Vader does as well, but I think Darth Maul's definitely got to be my favourite bad guy.
Like you said, the a relatively common and obvious choice, but for all the right reasons.
Yeah. Well, right reasons, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? I feel like Kylo Ren was done a bit of a dirty in those movies. I think.
Well, yeah, it was.
I feel like there was something there, and it never quite materialize. I'm not quite sure why. I think because you didn't have one guy helming all three movies because they were made by different people. I think
Yeah,
that has some kind of impact. I think it could have been so much
it could have
more. I
been.
think
It
there's
could have been
times
a lot
when the
more
character
badass.
really shines.
I think the only time he really shined was in Rise of Skywalker when even when his own Knights of Ren are coming after him when he's going to try rescue Rey in film and all that, and she force passes him the lightsaber, and they're all trying to get him, and then the lightsaber appears in his hand, and he pulls off behind him and goes, "Does it say right now? Come on," you know. I think the part of him being Solo's son were a good part. Uh, but no, he wasn't as badass as he could have been made out to be. Say he was chosen by Snoke, and he was supposed to be the leader of the Knights of Ren. He bested Luke Skywalker, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It was just Darth Vader's spoiled grandson that had temper tantrums. That's the sort of what really. But you know, again, if you like Star
It's
Wars, you
still
just
fun.
you
Yeah,
take
I
stuff
mean,
and just enjoy the whole thing as a film on its own. You know.
yeah, I mean that's a thing that I want to see. A thing that I'd like to see more of in Star Wars. Star Wars movies or TV shows.
Yeah.
I want to see
I'm getting,
more of
I'm
the.
getting
I mean, I don't.
Carolyn,
Yeah,
Carolyn, Carolyn Kazuna cosplay, she's called. She said he's in the animated stuff too, which you still need to watch.
oh,
Chris, laughing
oh,
face.
yeah. It's
Another
great.
member of my group that's like Carolyn. She's absolutely lovely. She does a Twi'lek and she does all sorts of X-wing fighter pilot and all sorts. Absolutely adorable. But she's another one that keeps telling me off for not watching animated cartoon series. It's quite funny. But no, I just can't get to grips with them, mate. I really can't.
But
It's not.
yeah. What I'd like to see, although I think you have to be quite careful because I wouldn't want Star Wars to turn into too much of an outright kind of like superhero sort of a thing, even though obviously it is. But I'd just like to see, you know, we all know the Jedi mind trick, and we all know they kind of push and pull things around, and sometimes it's a whole X-wing out of a swamp, which is quite impressive.
You
I'd
don't
like
want
to
to
see,
take the nip and see him flying around like Superman and stuff like that, do they? I mean, that
yeah,
was
no,
sort of a bizarre moment when Leia sort of forced herself back to the ship in film. You
yeah,
know, it's you
but
got
I
to remember
would like to see,
Leia had more power than Luke. Leia,
but I would like to see more Force usage of all, like a lot of the other powers. I mean, I've completely lost track of what's canon and what's not from what I've read in
yeah.
books and stuff over the years. But I've read some really interesting stories with some really interesting characters that have had some really interesting abilities via the
Not missing
Force.
out, Carolyn either. Bugger off.
And I think I'd really like to see a bit more of that stuff
Yeah.
than just this kind of standard push and pull that we see over and over and over again, which can be great. But maybe
We
something
might see
slight.
that yet in the Acolyte. You know,
Have
there's even a Wookiee Jedi in there. You know, I saw that come out at Star Wars Celebration. It was actually Junus inside that costume at Star Wars Celebration. We might see a lot more of
I'm
the
hoping
Force side of
so. Yeah.
the
Oh,
Acolyte because that's
oh
going.
yeah. That's it.
That's yeah, it's gone for me as well. You back?
Hey, we're back.
Oh, back in the room.
Oh dear.
Not
Yeah.
with
I
me.
mean, like
Talk about Force powers.
yes, like Luke's death. You know when he does the what from reading books I consider to be the battle meditation when he's force projecting himself like all the way across the galaxy and stuff like just real big epic moments
Yeah,
like that. I think because like that's just how powerful you can get. Some people are. I
That
guess it
sounds
all depends.
supposed to be, wasn't it?
I guess it kind of all depends on the canon of midichlorian counts, if you're into that kind of thing, if that's still a thing, or if they've got rid of it, or whether it's just down to training or whatever. But yeah, I'd like to see more bigger, truly more kind of spectacle
When
involving
did when did
force
it,
powers.
when did you learn how to do that? Because he never read the Jedi textbooks anyway. Because Yoda goes, yeah, page turners. So when did you learn that? So in theory, when he became a Jedi Knight as a younger guy, and he comes back and he actually has to fight the Emperor and Darth Vader, you think he should have been able to do that then?
Well, I mean, and it's also I love my favorite thing about Star Wars, and it's the thing that's explored the least, certainly in movie TV canon anyway, is
Yeah,
is that grey area. Is that we talk about light side, dark side, but there really isn't a light side, dark side. There's just
a
the force.
choice,
There's just the force,
a
and
choice.
you can do. That's one of the greatest moments, and people are so bored of me saying this, but I'm going to say it again. That Luke, in all the black gear, and he's choking out that Gamorrean on the way in to see Jabba. That's a dark side power you're using. You're dressed like the bad guys. You're using a bad guy power. It's not a
Yeah.
bad guy. He's Luke Skywalker. So you can do
I think they'll
that
just
and get
test
away with it.
to make him look a bit more badass
Yeah,
instead
it's
of him
like
being that farm boy that we got used to at the beginning.
yeah, but you can do that once. It's a little moment, and some people it's a thing that just passes them by. They pay it no mind, and it's like that was George Lucas trying to tell you. Like I'm not going to say
That he had
Yoda's.
the
I'm not going to say that
backside.
Yoda's full of shit, but like, but that in their own way,
I mean,
the the dogmatic view of the council um,
yeah,
is
yeah.
in fact somewhat holding people back because of that fear of turning people to the dark side. But like, hey, there's this thing called life. Deal with it. You know what I mean? Like,
Of
it
course it
kind of.
is. Of course it
I
is.
think that's a big thing he tried to get across in the prequels. Really, that the repression. You know, Anakin's turn to the dark side. You know, great to finally see what the cause of that was, and it turns out it was Yoda. It's all his fault, pretty much. Don't do this, don't
Yeah,
do that. You can't do this, you can't do
it
that.
was
Fun stuff.
where the fear leads to hate leads to anger and all that
Yeah,
sort of stuff. That we were going to lose Padme, and the Emperor had convinced him that he could, if if he did some of his teachings, that he could work with him and save Padme's life, and then he couldn't. So there we fear, there we. Then he got his
yeah,
anger, then he got
yeah,
his jealousy and all that sort of stuff, and that's what made him mentally finally snap. Theoretically, because it's all made up as we know in the films, anyway. But just talking about the case, so no, I think Yoda were holding him back a little bit because Yoda could see something in him nobody else could.
yeah,
Yoda could see the fact that he could easily cross over to the wrong side. You know what I mean? So, but it were the Emperor that were Palpatine were literally, obviously, the one that set that ball rolling by building up the trust with him, letting him believe that if he used the dark side of the Force, it could save Padme, because he kept having nightmares about her dying, didn't he?
yeah.
So,
I mean
which eventually, of course,
that's for me. It's the sort of the psychological aspect that you
yeah.
do have these two. I mean, not that you've got a whole council, but we'll keep singling out Yoda because why not?
Yeah.
I think he's the one character that I might be bigger than, so screw him.
I got asked the other day a question. I got asked which character knew Princess Leia the longest.
Hmm, that's a good one.
R2. He
Well,
was there
yeah,
at her birth.
he was there at the
He
birth.
was there
Yeah,
at her birth, and he was
at the
there at her
death.
death.
Yeah.
So he literally knew her the longest, be it 5 minutes, 10 minutes longer than anybody else. He was there at her birth, and he was there at a death with R2D2.
Yeah.
So,
And of
a bit
course,
of stupid trivia, but
he
there you go.
didn't have the mind wipe either. So
No.
he really does remember. He did know everything, which is another which is another nitpicking thing to pick up. Are they like both of these droids have been involved in this whole thing? We're living in a fantasy world where droids exist. We have a level of technology where we've created these things. There's a certain amount of AI or whatever involved in both droids. R2 is an autonomous unit. He moves and he does all the things by himself. You don't. It's not a remote control. This is an intelligent artificial whatever being. But because he can only speak in bleeps and bloops, it's someone like, he knows nothing. He knows everything.
Yeah, but everybody understood him. Everybody understood him. Have characters to understand him, didn't they? Several characters, because he makes all the noises at several points throughout the films. So they had to make it look like quite a few of the characters knew what he was saying. Otherwise, the audience watching the film wouldn't have a clue what he was trying to tell you. I mean, some of his actions and the way he behaved and the things he did, when he screamed, he was getting shot or whatever, because you don't even have to have a facial expression on a robot for like 3PO, he's looking at something, he's in shock or he's like, what? You know what I mean? But I think that's probably why they had so many characters that reckon they could understand what he was saying, so we could, because they just said, what? 3PO? It's like the original puppets, what I mean? What did you say? It's again, Kenny Baker that played R2D2 originally, it was Jimmy V then.
Yeah.
But that were a little tiny guy inside a thing, inside a sweatbox in a desert, trying to move it. In the odd scene when he's on the thing, you can actually see his little legs inside the R2's legs. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, all charm, mate. Absolutely love it. Big Star Wars fan. On a massive Star Wars group with people with massive hearts in it that just do great things, mate. And I'm proper proud of it.
Oh,
proper proud.
Actually, it was a good thing. So, I think we should really start to wrap this up. But I can't let you go. I really can't. I wish I could, but I can't. It's just not me. Without mentioning Jar Jar Binks. I mean, personally, I have no problem with Jar. I find him much less annoying than 3PO. 3PO's, I mean, maybe he's supposed to be, but 3PO's like he's annoying. The campness. He's horrible. He's mean to R2. He's always saying he's wrong when he's not. He's always right. He physically abuses R2 on a regular basis. He's always thumping him on the top of the head or kicking him or something.
It was like a married couple, wasn't it?
He's meant to be his best friend. He's a menace and a bully. Jar Jar, none of that. Jar Jar's lovely. A little bit clumsy. Jar Jar's fine. I'm okay with Jar Jar.
Yeah, I didn't mind him. I thought that all the characters, all Jar Jars and Gungans and all that lot, I thought they were a great addition to the film. Again, if it hadn't been Gungans and Jar Jar Binks that somebody were complaining about, it'd have been another character that they brought in that somebody wouldn't have liked. Can't please everybody. You can't. I quite like the character. I think it's a bit stupid, but I think quite a lot of us know somebody that's a bit of a Jar Jar character.
Do you have one?
No, we don't. I'd love one. No, I'd love one.
No, but 150 or so members, and not one of them. I mean, imagine this.
I don't think there's that many Jar Jar lovers out there that want to actually do the costume. No, we aren't. Not yet. No. We've got a few, let's say, creature art characters and stuff, and a lot of guys like to do the troopers and the Mandalorians and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So, but no, I'd if I want. I mean, I'm a big stocky guy. I'd look a bit stupid trying to do Jar Jar. I'd look like Jar Jar diet has gone wrong. You know what I mean?
It could be Jar Jar Binge.
Jar Jar Binge, yeah, Jar Jar Binge. You'll have to be careful how you say that though as well. Jar Jar Binge. Yeah, but no, I like the character. I think it's a great addition to films. But again, that's just my personal choice, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like you said, you liked him as
Oh,
well. If it hadn't been in that somebody disliked it, it'd have been somebody else that somebody disliked.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So again, it's one of those situations, isn't it, with any film? You know, you can put any character in any film. Half the public will love him and half the public will hate him. You know, it's just one of them things.
I know people that really have no love for the Ewoks whatsoever, and that really just think that whole concept and the time that we spend on Endor with them is just that's when they get up and go to the toilet, make a cup of tea or whatever. They're just not bothered about that at all.
It's just a bit of fun. It appealed to younger end as well, because I think that's one of the reasons Ewoks were invented. It appealed to younger end as well. Don't forget, George Lucas were always trying to appeal to the next generation of followers of Star Wars. They're always bringing in different characters that might appeal to kids, bringing back characters that appealed or were loved by the older generation from the original movies. Do you know what I mean? So that's why he's mixed up so many characters and brought in so many different characters. I think he's just trying to appeal to a bit of everybody. And again, it was originally supposed to be Wookiees, but I think the budget just would not go that far with the amount of Ewoks he used for that many Wookiees.
Yeah.
And that's how they used in prequels. In a lot of prequels, a lot of it was CGI with Wookiees. So, you know, but he didn't have those facilities to use when he were making the original films. He didn't have that technology, and that's why a lot of it were re-released or digitally remastered, adding an extra ship in here, an extra ship in there, and stuff when you first go into Mos Eisley. You know, the big creature that jumps up and the Jawa falls off when you first go into that one in the original.
No.
So obviously stuff as technology got better when he digitally remastered everything, extra stuff got added to it. You know what I mean? So stuff that he would have loved in it originally.
Yeah.
You know, we don't like to change things, won't we? Whatever we do, you know, we don't like to improve stuff.
So probably,
you know.
probably really quick and easy, obvious answers, and we'll wrap it up. What's your favourite ship or whatever?
Favourite ship? Millennium Falcon's got to be favourite because it's such an iconic. And then, believe it or not, TIE Fighter. I like the X-Wings. I think the TIE Fighters are a lot way cooler than the X-Wings.
Oh, and that noise. That's the whole...
Yeah, that iconic noise. And they do shift. So, yeah, they're sort of Falcon and then TIE Fighters, TIE Interceptors. I liked a lot of the bad guy ships. They just seemed that little bit cooler.
You know, that's just the thing in general, isn't it? Bad guys are always have the best uniforms.
Yeah, good guys are rebels, aren't they? Scraping together whatever they can. The Empire's got all this money and means to do what they want, so they get the better end of the deal.
Usually government contracts.
So it's got to be Falcon because it's just an iconic ship. It really is. So that's got to be my favourite, closely followed by TIE Fighters. So a bit of one of each there, really.
So what's your favourite creature character or monster character except Wookiee?
Except for Chewbacca. Well, it's not Jar Jar Binks, but he is a good one. I don't know, Greedo. I like Greedo. Yeah. You know, obviously that's an iconic scene again. Who was shot first between Greedo and Han Solo? You know, I like Nine Num, Admiral Akbar. You know, they're all cool. They're all brilliant. But yeah, Greedo's one of my favourite characters, creature characters.
Yeah.
And then obviously you've got Jabba the Hutt and Sice the Noodles and the Cantina Band and all those wonderful and weird and colourful characters that were brought into the Star Wars universe. You know, it's I think it's quite difficult to choose a favourite creature. I mean, I love the Gamorrean Guards. Yeah. I've got a guy in that does a Gamorrean Guard.
Yeah.
You know, so and it's amazing. He said one of the things, it just kills him every time he wears it because it's just such a hot. But yeah, it's Wayne Winfield and there was a Sand Trooper, Wookiees. You know, God Christ, we've got so many. It's so nice, you know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, you can't put my finger on a favourite.
So if you
Greedo, I mean, I've met the guy several times who plays him, and he's absolutely
Yeah.
lovely. So I think I'm a bit biased on that. You know what I mean? Because he's such a nice guy.
So,
But yeah,
so you're creating your own lightsaber. What color is it?
I think I'd probably go with Mace Windu's purpley colour,
Yeah.
or something as bright as possible. Yeah, red's great, but I think it's a bit dull when you're at events. Bright green's cool. My son's got the actual Padawan Outpost lightsaber for Luke Skywalker, the metal one, the really nice one, and that's nice and bright and green. I think I'd probably Mace Windu or something. No, I mean, or the Emperor's. The design of the hilt I like.
Oh,
The
yeah.
actual handle of it. It's the design of them. So I think Mace Windu is a great one. That's a nice one. Same. I'd like to be noticed as the only colour of that lightsaber.
So is there either like an item of merch or a prop or maybe an autograph that's your holy grail that you haven't got yet that you're chasing?
Yeah, because I never got a chance to meet Vader himself, so I never got his autograph. I mean, you can buy the autograph, but it's
Yeah.
not the same as getting it off the guy on there. I mean, my Holy Grail autograph I've got is the big canvas that was signed by Boba Fett himself. You know, so that's my favourite Holy Grail. That's my Holy Grail piece because that's something you can never replace. But yeah, no, I mean, obviously I'd like to have met the original Chewbacca. I never got a chance to meet. As daft as it sounds, as long as I've been doing that, I didn't get to meet the original Vader. I didn't get to meet the original Chewbacca. I met Junius, who plays Chewbacca now. But yeah, them two would be me. If I could go back in time and have the opportunity to meet the original characters of them two, Vader and Chewie, then they would be me Holy Grail. They would be the ones I would cut my right arm off to go and find to get their autograph and meet them. Do you know what I mean?
Fantastic. So, we're wrapping up. If you just want to briefly go back over what the Misfits do, what you represent, and if you want to plug whatever upcoming events, whatever your very next, what your next event might be, and we'll call it.
Yeah. Misfits, massive group of Star Wars enthusiasts that get together. Various types of Star Wars costumes. We take to the indoor events. We take a lot of props, backdrops, droids, K2SO, IG-12 with Grogu in his chest. You know, all these droids we take, and we collect for Tuish, which is for people that have lost a child at a young age, and it goes on the counselling and help for the parents of the emergency services, care packages, memory boxes, facilities where parents can stay closer to hospital for their children when they're actually having to go through these really, really difficult times. Next event is the Our House Family Festival in Brighouse this Sunday, and then the following week we're at Doncaster Unleashed at the Doncaster Dome the Sunday after. So yeah, if you want to come down to Doncaster Dome and see us, come down and see us. Everything we do is free. We'll have the big Scout Walker there, we'll have the Emperor's Throne there, we'll have droids, we'll have all sorts. So come down and see us, and just, if you want to donate a bit of something to charity, great. If you can't, you know, so what? Join in fun, have your high fives, and get a cuddle from Chewie, and just generally enjoy your day.
Want that? Be honest.
And what does he say in Solo? You don't get a better night's sleep than in the lap of a Wookiee.
Hey.
You know. Try not to make sure that don't come out rude or wrong, but you know.
Well,
my wife says, "Don't forget you're going to be live, so watch your language." So yeah.
Well, see, a fantastic man doing fantastic work. Well, a whole group of fantastic men, women, boys, and girls.
Doing 100%
fantastic work. So check them out, kids. Get on the socials, find it out, get out and see them.
Check us page out, Mos Eisley Misfits 2021. Check us page out. You can see what we get up to. We always a few days or a week before we'll put up what event we're coming up to next. So if you want to give us a follow, you know. And when I've got several of people, I'll always put up a post saying, please welcome new followers and supporters of the page, and guys in the group, you'll get that hello there and welcome. Yeah.
There's really no excuses, kids. Do it. Do it.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Not wise to upset a Wookiee.
Yeah, as long as you remember, always let the Wookiee win, and
Always.
you'll be fine.
Unless it's the life.
Well,
yeah.
Again, from me, thank you twice over. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for hanging out as long as you have and putting up with my nonsense. And thank you for creating the Misfits, doing what you do, raising the money. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And
thank you. My pleasure. My pleasure.
So happy that it exists. I really am.
Thank you for taking the time to do this great chat,
if
mate.
I could do my little bit, if I've just got through to one person who didn't know about it before, then I'm happy. Hopefully that'll happen. So again, thanks twice over, and we'll leave it there.
Yeah.
We'll leave it there.
With you.
I think we both could be here for the rest of the weekend if we didn't have better things to do. So
chatting that out, yeah.
Hopefully I'll see you sometime soon. Hopefully I'll get the opportunity to see you in costume in the not too distant
get down and get a photograph
with
us. Get down and get a photograph with us at one of his events that you see us put up. It'd be good. It would be nice to meet you, mate. In person.
It certainly would. It's been a pleasure. The pleasure's been all mine. It always is on these things. I've met some of the most fantastic people, and everybody's way more talented than me, whatever they do. Singers, actors, photographers, bookies.
I'm sure that's not always the case. I'm sure that's not.
I guarantee you it is always the case. The only thing I'm probably better at than most people is swearing, which is something I can't really make much money out of. It doesn't bring a great deal of joy to people. So
like I said, my wife says, don't forget you're going to be live on Instagram, so watch your language. So yeah, I can be a bit of a trooper myself. Unless kids are in, then I tend to watch my language. But
that's one of those professional skills I might have to learn. But as well, if nobody's paying me for this shit, then fuck them. Yeah. I'm sorry about that. But again, so for like the millionth time, thank you very, very much. Welcome. And we're going to call this a day. So I usually say it's the sun sets slowly in the west. I've been trying to think of some sort of Star Wars ending thing to say.
May the force be with you.
Yes. Always.
Always.
It's been a pleasure.
Take care. See you later, buddy.